As everyone knows, Saryn's toxic lash is pretty fucking broken. And I don't know about you, but for me it's what defines her at the moment. Not the spores, not anything, but the toxic lash. Buffs your weapon with around 100 extra toxin damage depending on your ability strength of course, but it's roughly 100 for my builds. And that toxin does not combine with any other element and is guaranteed to apply a toxin status effect on every instance of damage done. The most broken part about it is that we are currently in melee meta, so melee weapons are way better than the other ones, they are way stronger, and that buffs doubles for the melee strikes for some reason. So the E of course had to balance it out and disable all broken interactions like with Zatas or melee influence for that matter. So there is no more Zatas reproccing each other with toxic lash, nor melee influence spreading your toxin via toxic lash. Well hell, they even nerfed Exodia Force proccing toxic lash. So just take a look, once my melee influence buff is up, I should proc every element that I have on the weapon in 20 meters. But look, the moment I get my melee influence, come on proc, hello? Okay. Look, the furthest target doesn't get hit with the melee, but you can clearly see it spreads all the status effects. Besides the toxin. But this guy is stuck with it. So, the biggest power of Saryn with melee influence is not working. Like they, I think intentionally removed that interaction, that toxic lash getting spread with melee influence. Because that would be silly. But with weapons like Zoris that force proc electric to be always able to have melee influence no matter what elementals you have, that could be a bit broken because you could stack every single possibility of toxin mod like Prime Fever Strike and Revens to get the most benefit out of your toxic lash and then also get it spread in AoE. That would be pretty silly. But the weapon I called strongest weapon in Warframe is also a weapon that fixes that issue for Saryn. With Cerata you can easily spread toxin in AoE. That weapon has innate toxin, but that doesn't matter, that does not buff our toxic lash, only the mods on the weapon. But that innate toxin has one good part about it, it also forces toxin procs. And those toxin procs, the first ones, those do get spread by melee influence. So the build would be looking like this, the only issue being quite low status. I don't have a riven, because my riven has cold, and I'm not gonna be looking for a different one, because this build will do, and most people can get it done. Just remember, once you get the melee influence buff up, you will spread all the elementals you do for the time of the buff. So the only issue we have with Cerata is literally insta-killing enemies, because it seems like it doesn't really proc the elementals properly in that case. But luckily, I have a Extinguished Dragon key to reduce my damage, so I can show you. Just look, when you throw it, you get double toxin. And now if you explode it, you get another set of toxin. And now we have influence. Everything's with toxin. 18 toxin. And like we hitting 20 targets. So 20 procs of the toxin, yeah? And they're getting spread to all of them. So 20 toxin. I need to get back my influence real quick, okay. How much toxin we have? 7 on this guy. Let's try to explode on all of them. 21. But now let me just remove that Extinguished Dragon key. Show you my Archon shards so you all can have a look. I have 4 for the toxin status effect damage. And now look on the damage we can do without the Extinguished Dragon key. I will not buff anything, not even the toxic lash, because oh, we insta get influence, boom. There is just no way they survive. And the best part of it, we still have the influence buff, but now we have the combo points. And on top of that, we have gas. Even with double elementals, we could make the build even more broken, but let's just use this without the power throw. One of the most broken mods we can put on the weapon, because that's a 300% multiplicative damage. But even without this, we will never ever struggle in terms of like needing some more damage. Because remember, you just saw without a single buff, but we have a toxic lash that will be around like 200% for Cerata. Roar on 100% during the mission easily. And that triple dips on the melee influence procs. And we also get bunch load of corrosive damage from our Spores augment. When I think of it, honestly the fully buffed spec is probably a huge overkill. Cause, yeah, look at that. No nothing, I won't even prepare, I will just throw it on them like this. No melee influence yet to do the insane amount of overproccing of the toxin. But all what you just saw is barely a beginning of the build. Yeah, exactly, the full loadout gets obnoxiously, like, it's an absolute level of broken. If you're enjoying my content, remember to subscribe and click that bell icon to get notified with my latest uploads. And without further ado, let's continue with the video. For the focus skull, if you really wanna be even more obnoxious than it's possible, you go for Madurai, for the Void Strike, the Phoenix Talons, and all of this good shit with the ability strength stuff like Sling Strength. But we don't really need it, I rather play Unairu straight up, not for the poise, but for the stone skin. For the primary weapon, I love to keep it classical with Saryn, and I just use Sobek. In case I get bored of throwing the Cerata, I can just shoot Sobek and always get all that good shit from the Roar and Toxic Lash combined with Acid Shells. Yeah, this loadout is basically so broken that we can use any weapon, because in my secondary, I don't use my usual Grimoire to buff, I could, but I use Furies because I really like it, and I'm really loving to mess around with the Blast Toxin setup with Encumber. So you can do that, you can do Grimoire, you can unequip it completely, that's 100% up to you what you wanna have here. And of course for the melee, we use Cerata with the loadout, Galvanized Steel, Elementalist, Organ Shatter. This is for the crit strike chance and crit damage. Organ Shatter, obviously for crit damage, and even more important, heavy attack wind-up speed. That's why we use melee Elementalist instead the galvanized one for the wind-up speed. We use Reflex for the initial combos, of course. Then we use elements. We have to fuse the innate toxin into something. And I like gas, so that's what I did. I did the gas, standalone electric, and of course increasing the radius on the explosion for more AoE proccing and over proccing of the toxic via influence. And for Saryn herself, those Archon shards, I have this one, but you can swap it for the toxin damage. I don't even know why I keep this one still, because the rest of them is just the toxin damage. And I honestly should just roll with 5 of them, the damage is, like, you don't need the strip anyway. We have the passive that extends all the toxin, etc, but it's whatever, it just puts overkill to an overkill. And we're using Roar, of course, because triple dipping on melee influence is just insanity at that point. For the Saryn's build, first of all, important to have Arcane Avenger to guarantee ourselves always critting with it, with the Galvanized Steel as the only mod. Unless you have crit strike chance more Riven, then it's a bit easier. Arcane Fury. And I mean, even if you have the Riven for crit strike chance, we still rolling the Avenger. I started using Mecha Empowered and Mecha Pulse for the survival, but when I think of it, the fact that the companion marks a target that will spread the status effects, if you explode it on 20 guys, and one of them spread it even further than melee influence, the 10 extra meters, that one guy will get, how much, like hundreds or more toxin procs on his face? That's pretty stupid. The rest is full strength mods and a bit of duration. You can swap it for some range if you really want to use spores as well. I just don't really enjoy spores, because whenever I go public lobby there is another Saryn playing it, so one of us just gets fucked. So that's why I only play full onto the weapon platform Saryn. Using Hurasku, bro, so in case you want him to do some damage, you can swap your primary to Paris. We built him like this. You can pause if you need the loadout. And instead of the casual hit we usually do, where is it? We could use Sepsis Claws, and that would be a Saryn version of Huras. But in the end, all that matters is to have the mecha set, every single piece of it, put on the claws, on the companion, and on the warframe. Remember, the more damage our pet does, the more he will heal us, but yeah, it's up to you. If you want him to do damage, or if you want him not to die, then you can use Elusive and whatever mods just to make sure you have mech on it. And of course you will be needing Bite for that Tenacious Bond. Honestly, this build is suboptimal because I made all the formas for Dante, so Dante keeps the pet quite safe with his Overguard. But since I wanted to redo the pet, yeah, it's a bit more forma to be done, so all this Madurai kinda interrupt what I really wanna achieve. And what would be better is literally getting some armor for the Synth Fiber synergy, but yeah, you should build your companion way better than you see here. So I think it's time to put it all to a test. Just right before we go for that test, I will show you an alternative version that you can try. It's pretty similar. We have the wind-up mods. The upper row did not change. I only swapped from making gas to my riven, that gives me viral, and electric. So viral will proc, the oxin will proc, and electric. And I put focus energy, so I have 90% capped efficiency, so we can use Cerata for the combo points if you really fancy throwing it at 12x all the time. Just remember that everything depends on what riven you have for a different loadout like this. You can go with this exact one, just swap the edge for the frost one, for the cold one, so you have viral, up to you. I will go with gas, electric, and let's see. Okay, let's see how it works. Oh, my companion didn't mark anything yet? Oh, I think the influence and the companion mark went crazy there. Checking my tankiness, by the way. If I die, not my fault. Just checking how good it is to get armor. 1.2k of it. As long as the companion heals me, it's not that bad, honestly. Just look what's happening in there. Oh no, my pet. Actually gotta get him up somehow. I'm blocking somehow. Okay, interesting. Rebuff quick. I really wanna charge my Furies to see what's up with it. Because I wanna show you how every weapon can kill in this loadout, so you don't really have to rely on melee. Melee could be like your ultimate kill tanky stuff, like Acolyte, but why would it be? Straight up AoE. Has range because it's a thrown weapon. And this is what it does. The companion with the hunter recovery actually does quite nice job with the healing. We need to kill more in AoE. I need to go to better room. And I don't have Augur. Oh, I forgot that I need Augur on Saryn somewhere if I don't have Brief Respite. It kinda sucks, can shield gate. Quite interesting that I'm still alive then. How much armor I got? 900. Oh, I need to... Please? Oh, the pet's dead again, man. Stop dying. Gave you synth fiber and armor. Give me that influence. 1.5k armor. Still not enough to be like any value in terms of damage reduction. It's actually crazy about it. Is the pet 20% dead? Last time I'm racing that guy. The problem with insta-killing them, the influence not that easy to proc. They just die too fast. But we got another influence spread via the pet mark. Just built the pet better than I did in terms of its survival. I wanted to try double armor. For the pet it definitely does not work out. Maybe I just need a different room then. But look, the influence is some fucked up thing with proccing when you insta-kill. Especially that I fuck up the values on the stats. Sorry, I'm checking if I'm recording. Something's fucked up, definitely. I will drop down the buffs to see if I proc influence. So far I killed so many enemies and there is no influence. Because it's an insta kill. So the corrosive is off, roar is off, let's see. And the toxin is off. They shouldn't be dying insta now. That's why I prefer, by the way, thrones. It's so much easier to stay alive on Saryn with thrown weapon. Yeah, couple of throws and I kinda got it already. So, let's see. Wow, that toxin everywhere. But yeah, it's quite strange to use for base steel path. And I'm not even sure if it will feel any different if you in level cap, if it tracks or not. I think you won't even struggle to kill juggernauts or anything like this on high levels. But definitely the influence very hard to proc if you insta-kill enemies. But we got it this time though. Even if you don't see toxin, there should be toxin, but there is no toxin. Even though it's forced. Unless you explode it. You need to make sure that like it's over their head. Actually quite interesting how this works. Because if it's an insta-kill, it doesn't really proc as it's supposed to. Misery is dying to one gas proc. Not even the toxin proc. Oh, he was here. You know what? I have an idea how to show it better to you. How broken it is. Because this is impossible, so I'll fix my pet survival and go back to you with that mission. With a way that I can actually show you the power of this. I swapped to Noctua, not to buff myself, but to have the Augur mods on it. I will also pass on using any kind of metal fiber or other mods on the companions, even though synth fiber doubles it multiplicatively, so 1.1 is 79, double it, and the pet's still dying, so I'm gonna go with this one. And instead of fucking around with the synth fiber, I'm just gonna put primed pack leader in its slot. These two simple changes and the pet should be alive 24/7. But what I will do to show you the build without insta-killing everything, I will equip Extinguished Dragon key again back for a run. One more run in mod. Okay, so here we are in ultimate Saryn's form. Literally using Extinguished Dragon key because doing too much damage. I instantly get a guest. Oh, but nothing was close, just 60 armor bonus here. I'm here with Extinguished Dragon key, by the way, yeah? I don't know what else to tell you, but... How do I lower? I need to make a shit build straight up to put even less damage on my build right now. I mean... Dude, I have a fucking Extinguished Dragon key on me. That's like, just to make... Why it overlaps on it? Reduced damage, yeah? So... That's that. With your reduced damage. I don't know. Guess I just stop pressing roar. But yeah, I guess the not pressing roar would be the answer actually. So that's a dragon key, extinguished one for the reduced damage. And on top of that I'm not pressing roar, which is just the most insane build here. The build. Buff, I mean. 1.7k armor. Let's see how much this means. Yeah, with that amount of armor we kinda can see we take less damage. Actually crazy. We got influence up, everything under us died, everything near us died. Same here. Just look on the map, by the way, it's the easiest way to see the power of influence, honestly. We can spice up the Acolyte with the roar again, but that's probably all that it's worth for. I don't know what, like, use Eclipse for damage reduction at that point, because you will never lack damage if with the Dragon key here. I have to drop down using Roar, just to show you that influence procs, and does good job with doing damage. It's just, this is how broken it is. Oh, the pet died again. I was probably too busy talking instead, doing damage. So he can get the overguard. The pet is just too important. He heals too good. And he gives us combo points when he melee swings. It's pretty chill. Like the armor gained from the mecha set keeps us alive. The pet heals as well. Don't have to jump into operator. We have some extra 200 from the Onairu to start with. Oh, the influence procced. Everything disappeared on the map. Only loot left. Loving it. I'm gonna just press Toxic Rush, I guess. No even need on the corrosive damage. Literally drop down to the last buff. But before the Acolyte spawns, actually. Let's see how it looks like without any buff. I just have to time out the Toxic Rush. This is everything like crazy how strong this is. Dragon key. Using one buff instead all of them. Look at that toxin procs. It's impossible they survive. Even with that much damage loose. It's insane. Hey, Toxic Rush timed out. Let's not press anything then. Plus the damage reduction we have from the Dragon key. We have influence up. How many toxin everywhere? They are stacked. 4 toxins. It doesn't just spread that one toxin, yeah? It's radial exploding, so the more enemies you explode on, the more toxic procs you're gonna have. And yeah, pretty much everything still 9 insta with the damage reduction from the key and no buff at all. So I feel pretty confident I can spice it up a bit for the Acolyte. I mean, look at this shit, like... And people complain that you don't do damage. There is too much damage in this game. I literally struggle to show you build properly because I cannot lower damage. Like, I can lower the damage enough. But no, you can take your Jade Light back. Just imagine, like, I'm not even using power throw. Imagine with power throw that the Dragon Key would still not be enough to show you anything. They would still insta die. The power throw is like the strongest build, mod you can have in the build. That's why I never liked Crescendo as well. Because you have to chain your throws to have the most out of the thrown weapon. But literally not pressing any buffs. Pet heals me, gives me armor, keeps me alive. Everything in one. Oh, Acolyte comes, I can buff again. Let's see the difference, how it looks like when we actually use Saryn. Everything disappeared. Where's he? Gone. Should have actually tried him without the buffs, but... Oh, double proc. So, that would be all from me for now. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you clearly see how broken it is, with all the nerfs I tried to do. And well, if you did like it, enjoy it, leave a like, comment, share and subscribe. As always, see you on the next one.